On the wedding day, my fiancé live-streamed his proposal to my cousin right there at our wedding. They eloped for love on the spot. And I became the scorned woman known to everyone. As I stood there, lost and helpless, Seaside wealthiest man, Marcus, walked onto the stage and knelt before me. Grace, I fell for you at first sight at the Carlisle. Will you marry me? I gently refused, but he relentlessly pursued me from then on my birthday. He even spent millions to put up a bold declaration of his love for me on every major billboard across the city. 3 years later, I finally accepted his proposal, becoming the woman everyone said had saved the galaxy. But the night before our engagement, I overheard him talking to his friends. Marcus flew into a rage for his beloved, spending $10 billion on a building for his idealized first love. But as your friend, I should tell you, Chloe has already married your wife's ex-boyfriend. Marcus's voice was tender. As long as Chloe is living well now, I'd even die for her. So, he pursued me to make Chloe happy. I was devastated, and I decided to disappear completely from his world then. Marcus, make sure to tell your subordinates not to say anything to Grace. Marcus's tone was confident. They wouldn't dare reveal a single piece of information about Chloe in front of Grace. I froze at the doorway, my insulated food container clutched tightly in my hand. Tomorrow was our engagement party. Marcus had specifically called 3 hours earlier, saying he was busy with company matters and I should go to bed early. My heart ached for him, so I had specially prepared some nutritious soup and brought it over. I wanted to give him a surprise. Unexpectedly, the surprise turned into a shock. It turned out I had been living in a beautiful dream Marcus had woven for me. All the beautiful moments I had shared with him flashed through my mind like a slideshow. When the entire city was covered with his declarations of love, he said, "Grace, this is just the first step in my pursuit of you." When we traveled the world, he said, "Grace, I will show you every corner of the world." When he knelt on one knee by the ocean and proposed to me, he said, "Grace, I love you, marry me." My vision blurred. I raised my sleeve to wipe my face, only to realize I had been crying for who knows how long. Ding. I tapped my phone. It was a client recommended by my senior, wanting me to do asset planning for him in Dubai. Before, I would have definitely refused, but now, the conversation in the office stopped. A deathly silence fell over the surroundings. I was in a dilemma. Suddenly, a flustered woman walked out from beside me. It was Marcus's secretary. "Madam, when did you arrive?" I smiled, lifting the insulated food container for her to see. "Just arrived. Came to bring Marcus some nutritious soup." She sighed in relief, opened the door, and welcomed me inside. Seeing me, Marcus rushed over and took the food container from my hand. "It's cold outside. What if you catch a cold from the wind?" The secretary handed him the AC remote. Marcus turned up the temperature and found a blanket for me to wrap around myself. Wrapped in the blanket, I curled up in a corner of the couch. Although it was incredibly warm, I still felt a chill down to my bones. Marcus's friends and secretary smiled, greeted me, and left. Every time they smiled like that before, I thought they were teasing Marcus, a big CEO, for humbly doting on me. Only now did I understand. They were laughing at me. Marcus looked anxious. "Did you get cold from the wind?" I shook my head. "No. You drink your soup first." He looked a bit startled, then drank the soup from the insulated food container in one gulp. His amber eyes showed a hint of anxiety, and his usually light red lips were scalded crimson by the nutritious soup. Marcus held up the insulated food container, showing off to me. "See, I finished it." Marcus led me to the lounge and said softly, "You worked so hard." I lay down on the large bed in his lounge. Marcus rested his chin on the top of my head, holding me tightly. "Still cold." I softly hummed. After an unknown amount of time, I heard his even breathing beside me. Marcus's phone screen lit up. Curious, I picked up the phone and saw a text message from his assistant. I entered the password, but it showed incorrect password. Marcus's phone password had always been our birthdays. I flipped the phone over and saw there was no scratch I had made on the back. This was a different phone. My heart sank, and I tried entering the password again. Our combined birthdays didn't work. Adding our engagement date also didn't work. Chloe's face suddenly flashed through my mind. On a whim, I entered Marcus's and Chloe's birthdays. It unlocked successfully. I scoffed, a self-mocking smile on my lips. It seemed this phone belonged to Chloe. On the WhatsApp chat, the assistant said, "Marcus, the gift contract for the Seaside building has been drafted." I opened the file, and Chloe's name was clearly written in the recipient field. The chat history also mentioned a mansion, a limited edition sports car. This Bluffs building, valued at $10 billion, was just the most insignificant of the many gifts Marcus had given Chloe. I scrolled to the very first chat records. The first gift contract stated that all his assets after his death would be left to Chloe. The screen stayed on the page for too long, then went dark like a mirror. It reflected my lifeless eyes and reddened nose. As Bluff's top asset planner, I was well known in the industry. After leaving my company, I had been managing Marcus's assets. Yet, I didn't even know that the majority of his wealth was flowing to outsiders. It was utterly ironic. I lit up the screen, and a diamond certificate in the chat box caught my eye. It was the very diamond ring I had instantly loved when we were choosing wedding rings. At that time, he had said with a stiff expression, "My deserves a bigger, shinier diamond ring. This one is too plain band." The sales associates next to us also praised my good fortune, saying I found a man so willing to spend on me. So I went along with his wishes and chose another diamond ring for our wedding. I frantically pulled out my phone and tapped into Chloe's social media post. 3 days ago, she had posted a live photo. No caption. In the photo, she was wearing that plain band diamond ring on her hand. I tapped the live photo and listened repeatedly. Amidst the background noise, Marcus's voice was intertwined. I knew you'd love it. It turned out he wanted to give that ring to Chloe. I clenched my phone tightly, my fingertips turning white from the force. Coming back to my senses, I put Marcus's phone back. I booked a direct flight to Dubai for tomorrow. I had to leave Seaside, disappear from Marcus's world. The next morning, Marcus left early. His secretary came in with toiletries to wake me up. Marcus had an urgent business trip last night. He said the engagement party would be postponed for 2 days. I rubbed my eyes, feeling completely exhausted. Okay, just put the things down. My phone chimed with a social media update notification, and I tapped it open. Chloe had posted a video. In the video, she was wearing a bikini and fishing on a yacht deck. A man wrapped his arms around her slender waist from behind. I immediately recognized the watch on the man's wrist. It was the birthday gift I had given Marcus last year. The IP address showed Thailand. A dense, piercing pain welled up in my heart. So, he postponed our wedding just to go fishing with the woman he loved. After a quick wash, I took a taxi back to the mansion to pack my luggage. I coincidentally arrived at the door right after the brand representative delivering the sample wedding gowns. "Ms. Chloe, Mr. Marcus's reserved wedding gown has arrived." I froze, looking at the bag containing the gown. It clearly read Men Wedding Series End. And the wedding gown Marcus took me to try at Men headquarters was merely a limited edition runway model. The difference between these two wasn't just in craftsmanship, it was in intent. I forced a bitter smile and said, "I'm sorry. You've got the wrong person. I'm not Chloe." The person immediately understood, apologizing profusely with embarrassment. After seeing them off, I caught a glimpse of Marcus returning with Chloe from the corner of my eye. "Cousin, I came to see you." And I ran into cousin-in-law at the door. "So we came together. You don't mind, do you?" The last few words, "you don't mind," were heavily emphasized by her. Marcus frowned slightly, probably displeased that Chloe called him cousin-in-law. I smiled in response. "It's fine anyway. I was leaving soon, so what did it matter if I minded?" Marcus didn't love me. Not wanting to waste time with them, I turned and went upstairs. After packing my things, I opened the door. I saw Marcus standing there. He held a large ruby necklace, presenting it before me. "An apology gift for my Grace. Be a good girl and don't be mad, okay?" He thought I was ignoring him because I was angry about the engagement party postponement. But he didn't know that I was truly fed up with his pretense of loving me so much. Seeing that I didn't speak, Marcus unclasped the necklace and put it around my neck. "The company is having a celebration today. Come with me." I ignored him and pushed out my suitcase. "No, I have to go out." "Grace, you wouldn't want your husband to have another female companion, would you? And many big names in the industry are here today. You'll definitely like it." I hesitated and let go of my suitcase. Flying to Dubai this time, I might never come back. This was a good chance to see my old colleagues. I nodded lightly. Marcus happily called the makeup artist and styling team upstairs. An hour later, I emerged wearing the latest high-end designer gown, with the large ruby necklace Marcus had given me around my neck. Seeing me, Marcus's eyes lit up as he opened the car door. "Grace, you're beautiful." Chloe lifted her skirt and bumped me aside. "Cousin, my gown is too big to fit in the car. How about you switch seats with me?" The huge ruby on her neck reflected light that stung my eyes. I looked down at the one on my neck. It looked like it was made from scraps, I said coldly. My skirt is also very big. Chloe whined playfully. Cousin, I get car sick, you know? I just want a more spacious car. After she spoke, she pouted and looked coquettishly at Marcus. Marcus looked at me dotingly, but his hand was behind his back, comforting her. I sneered inwardly, silently watching their interaction. Marcus took my hand and coaxed, Grace, since cousin gets car sick, it's fine if we switch. His voice was infinitely gentle, as if all his love was in his eyes. Yet, the words he spoke were in defense of another woman. I gave a faint smile, lifted my skirt, and walked towards the car behind. This was better anyway. At least I didn't have to watch him pretend anymore. Grand, Chloe, holding a wine glass. Mock me, cousin, you're so sloppy. At least iron such a wrinkled gown before wearing it out. I ignored her and turned to the dessert to pick out a cupcake. I hadn't eaten anything since morning. Filling my stomach was more important. She persisted. Do you think I only steal your men? I took a bite of the cupcake and looked at her, confused. Chloe smirked. Just wait. The show is about to begin. The host announced that Chloe had won the outstanding award. She glanced at me haughtily and walked toward the stage. I want to thank our big boss, Marcus, first and foremost, for helping me win this award. Chloe stood brightly and lively on the stage, exchanging glances with Marcus. Everyone's eyes in the audience shifted between the three of us. They looked at me with even more pity. On the screen above, Chloe's historical achievements began to scroll. A client named Chen, whose asset planning return rate exceeded 20%, had created an industry miracle. Gasps of surprise filled the audience below. Chloe, is that amazing? The last person that amazing was Marcus's fiancée Grace. What amazing? Her highest was only 15% before. But Chloe achieved 20%. She stole my man. I didn't care, because any man who can be stolen isn't worth keeping. But she stole the achievements I had worked so hard for. I couldn't tolerate that. I rushed onto the stage, took the microphone from the host, exceeding the industry average, achieving a 20% return rate on behalf of the public. I'd like to ask Ms. Chloe, how did you manage that? Chloe hadn't expected me to disregard my reputation and challenge her on stage. At this, she stammered, unable to speak, and looked to Marcus for help. He immediately stepped forward, his voice low. This is a personal secret and not convenient to disclose. Marcus kept signaling for me to get off the stage. I scoffed, a sneer on my face, and continued to ask then, Chloe, do you know what industry Mr. Chen's main assets are in? Do you know his full name? Do you know how he got rich? A series of questions left Chloe bewildered. Cousin, are you doubting me? She finished disjointedly, then feigned fainting and fell towards me. In an instant, we tumbled to the ground. Chloe clutched her foot. Cousin, why did you push me? My foot really hurts. The microphone fell beside her foot, and this unintentional murmur echoed throughout the entire venue. The crowd below looked at me with disdain. Marcus rushed onto the stage in a panic. Just then, the stage collapsed. Chloe and I were both buried under a metal pipe. She screamed in terror, Marcus, Marcus, save me. A sharp pain shot through my hand. I looked down to see a gash on my wrist. Blood was gushing out. I had been afraid of blood since childhood, and in my panic, I wanted to escape but couldn't move. Marcus lifted the metal pipe and crawled inside. I instinctively cried out to him for help. Marcus, I'm here. Save me. He frantically picked up Chloe, then glared at me. If you hadn't caused trouble, Chloe wouldn't be crushed. And you still have the nerve to ask me to save you. In the face of life and death, he stopped pretending. I held up my bloody hand. Marcus, my hand is injured. If I don't get to the hospital quickly to get it bandaged, it'll die. Please, take me to the hospital first, okay? A flicker of reluctance crossed Marcus's eyes. Chloe tightly clutched his collar, murmuring, Marcus, it hurts. He immediately panicked and comforted her. Chloe, don't be afraid, I'll take you to the hospital right away. Marcus made to leave. I fearfully chased after him, crying, Marcus, I'm scared. I'm really going to die. Please, take me to the hospital first, please. Marcus acted as if he hadn't heard me, rushing forward desperately with Chloe in his arms. Chloe looked back at me, silently saying, You've been abandoned again, cousin. Their backs completely disappeared from my sight. I collapsed weakly to the ground. Being abandoned wasn't my fault, but I couldn't abandon myself. Enduring the pain, I moved the metal pipe that was pressing on me. Finally, I rescued myself. I rushed to the city central hospital. A wound that should have only needed 5 stitches, because of the struggle while moving the metal pipe. it became a bloody mess and required 18 stitches. Midway to the airport, I paid a large sum to hire a detective to prepare a fake body for me and erase all signs of my existence. I wanted to disappear from Marcus's world. The announcement stated that the flight to Dubai was about to depart. I pushed my suitcase, taking one last look at Seaside. Goodbye forever, Marcus. City Central Hospital. Marcus stayed by Chloe's side all night. This morning, the doctor confirmed she was fine, just frightened. Only then did he relax and remember he needed to pick me up from the hotel. Marcus hurriedly dialed his assistant, "Send a car to City Central Hospital. I need to pick up Grace from the hotel." The assistant's voice on the other end trembled. "Marcus, madam? She took her own life. She's dead, dead." The assistant's voice quivered. "The doctor said it was excessive blood loss. Her body is in the morgue on the first basement level of City Central Hospital." Marcus froze, instinctively refuting. "No, that's impossible. How could Grace die? Is she angry and playing a prank on me with you?" He couldn't imagine it. Just a few hours ago, I was standing perfectly fine beside him. How could I be gone now? Chloe's voice weakly called him. "Marcus, did something happen to cousin? It's all my fault. I shouldn't have let you carry me to the hospital." Marcus hung up the phone and said hurriedly, "It's nothing. I just have an urgent matter to deal with." Chloe reluctantly grabbed his hand. "I'm all alone in the room. I'm scared." Marcus silently stroked her head. "Chloe, it's really urgent." This was the first time Marcus had refused Chloe's request, for some unknown reason. A feeling of something precious slipping away began to permeate her heart. "Morgue?" The assistant pulled back the white sheet from the body. Marcus reached out and touched my pale face. 2 days ago, this face was rosy as I slept in his arms. His fingers stroked the body's lips. Cold and devoid of any warmth, a chill seeped from his fingertips into his heart. How could she take her own life? The assistant stated gravely. An employee left their bag at the venue this morning. When they asked staff to open the doors to look for it, they unexpectedly found Madam, who had lost too much blood. She had already passed away by the time she was sent to the hospital. The doctor diagnosed her death as excessive blood loss. Marcus grabbed the assistant by the shoulders, shouting in despair, "How could it be excessive blood loss? With so many people at the venue, why didn't anyone notice her? Tell me, tell me." The assistant, dizzy from being shaken, stammered in response, "Everyone thought you were carrying madam, so they didn't pay attention." Marcus was speechless for a moment, and the atmosphere solidified. Who would have thought that Marcus, who outwardly seemed to love me deeply, would decisively choose Chloe in a life or death situation? Marcus raised his head, looking devastated. "So, I killed Grace? I killed her. Ha ha ha. It was all me." He cried and laughed, repeatedly punching himself in the chest. The assistant dared not intervene, silently covering the body with the white sheet again. Marcus sank to the ground, mumbling, "Did leave me a message?" The assistant handed him my handbag. He opened the bag, and the large ruby necklace Marcus had given me, and the diamond ring, fell out onto the floor. Seeing his surprise, the assistant quietly explained, "The surveillance footage shows Madam taking these pieces of jewelry off and putting them in her bag while she still had strength." Tears streamed uncontrollably from Marcus's eyes. Trembling, he found my phone, unlocked the password, and it automatically jumped to the memo page. "Marcus, by the time you read this, I'm probably already dead. When publicly proposed to Chloe and abandoned me. I once thought I was the most miserable person in the world. I'm truly grateful to you, who descended into my life like a deity. But heaven always loves to toy with people. You, who outwardly appeared to love me deeply, were merely pretending for Chloe. Finally, I want to say, I'm sorry for making you pretend so hard. I hope we have no connection in our next life, and I wish you can realize your dream of marrying Chloe." After reading it, Marcus cursed in a harsh voice. Who told Grace about Chloe's affairs? His eyes were bloodshot, and the surrounding atmosphere was terrifyingly oppressive. The assistant trembled all over. "The night before you canceled the engagement party, Madam came to the company to bring you nutritious soup and stayed at the office door for a long time." He hadn't expected that I had heard all those vile words. Marcus retaliated by repeatedly slapping himself in the face. Ding, my phone received a text message. Marcus, his face swollen and red, picked it up and saw it was from Chloe. "Did you see it yesterday? I told you. Both Justin and Marcus are dogs at my feet. They come running at my beck and call, and not just them. Everything you cherish, I'll take it all." He laughed maniacally after reading it. A towering wave of regret surged in Marcus's heart. For a woman who treated him like a dog, he had killed me. Someone who loved him so much, he regretted it. He should have loved me. Dubai, in the scorching summer, I went out, learning from the locals to wear a headscarf. When I first arrived, I took all the money from my overseas accounts and started a small studio. The client base was steadily increasing, and the studio urgently needed to hire more staff. Just then, my friend from the States quit her job and wanted to join me. I drove to the airport early to pick her up. As soon as my friend sat in the passenger seat, she started gossiping. "Hey, you know your cousin Chloe, right?" I nodded lightly. "What about her? I heard she went crazy after divorcing that scumbag Justin and was even admitted to St. Jude's Mental Institute." My friend said Chloe initially didn't know about my death and kept sending provocative messages to my phone. Coincidentally, the phone was with Marcus at the time. After realizing Chloe had played him, he shared the chat history with Justin. He also printed out a list of all the gifts he had given Chloe over the years and published it citywide. This farce topped the trending charts in the States for 7 days. My friend covered her mouth, stifling a laugh. The funniest part is, Marcus's assets shrank significantly after you stopped managing them. Netizens claimed Marcus became the wealthiest man because you bring him such good fortune. I smiled faintly. "Just jokes." My friend leaned closer to me, looking serious. "Do you know about Marcus marrying your corpse?" I slammed on the brakes, looking at her in shock. "Did you just say Marcus married my corpse?" "Yes. It'd say he's unstable too. When you loved him, he loved Chloe. When you stopped loving him and faked your death, he became unhinged and insisted on marrying your corpse." My mouth hung open in astonishment, and I asked her, "Did he succeed in marrying it?" My friend shook her head. I sighed in relief. I thought, of course not. How could Marcus's parents agree to something so absurd? But then my friend dropped the real bombshell. Marcus joined her family's legacy. Ha ha ha. Didn't expect that, did you? I froze, instinctively asking, why? My friend smiled wickedly. Marcus changed the engagement party to a wedding and brought your fake body out. Everyone was stunned. His parents were the first to disagree, saying if he insisted on marrying you, they'd kick him out of the family. But he not only happily accepted, but he also declared that he was joining your family's legacy, swearing, "Alive, I am your man. Dead, I am your ghost." Listening to that, it sounded like Marcus loved me. Unfortunately, I no longer loved him. A faint smile touched my lips. "It's all in the past," my friend echoed, laughing. "That's right. Our Grace deserves better." Yes, I deserved better. I restarted the car and drove to the studio entrance. A handsome man with black hair and blue eyes walked up. "It'll help you carry your things down." I smiled and nodded. "Okay, thank you." My friend grabbed me, curiously asking, "Who's this tall, handsome guy?" "Guess." My friend looked a bit annoyed and slapped my butt. "I'm serious. Tell me." "His name is David, and his Chinese name is Fuan. He's a doctor, and his grandmother is from the States." My friend gave a mischievous smile, her eyes darting between David and me. I quickly explained, "It's not what you think. Meeting was a complete accident. I had just arrived in Dubai and was driving to register my studio unexpectedly. I accidentally rear-ended his car. In a panic, I blurted out in Chinese, 'Are you all right?' Seeing his green eyes, I realized I was abroad and quickly added, 'Are you all right?' His chiseled features slightly furrowed, and his well-defined hand touched his forehead. "I'm fine." My eyes widened in surprise. "You speak Chinese?" Dealing with traffic accidents abroad was very troublesome. Fortunately, David was raised by his grandmother, an American expert, and spoke perfect English. With his help, the insurance process went smoothly. Coincidentally, the office I rented belonged to his family. In the office, I put a band-aid on him. "Okay, just make sure not to get it wet for the next few days, and eat a light diet." Light diet? I gathered my first aid kit and explained, "It means no spicy food." David shook his head. "The food here in Dubai is all spicy. I can't eat a light diet," I thought. Since I was the one who hit him, I casually said, "No problem. I'll be in charge of your meals from now on. Just come and eat at the appointed time." David thanked me directly. "Okay, thank you. I haven't asked your name yet." "Vivian." "My name is Vivian. The name Grace, I wanted to bury it in the past." I smiled as I put the first aid kit back in the closet. Later, David came often. Over time, we gradually became friends. One day, after dinner, David and I were watching the stars in the garden. He suddenly pointed to the brightest star in the night sky. "Vivian, what if I picked that star for you?" I was curious. How do you pick a star from the sky? He covered my eyes with one hand, his warm breath fanning my ear. Like this, his hand moved away, and a diamond ring appeared before my eyes. David knelt on one knee, holding the ring. Vivian, will you be with me? His eyes were bright, brimming with anticipation. I steeled my heart and shook my head. David, I don't want to. He was a very good person, but I didn't want to gamble that he wouldn't be the third person to abandon me. David sighed and put the ring back, smiling. I was too impatient. Next time. I'll wait until you're ready to confess. I wanted to tell him not to wait, but from the corner of my eye, I caught his hurt expression, so I swallowed my words. I softly hummed. After that incident, David behaved as usual. It was I who felt a bit guilty about his affectionate gestures towards me. I hadn't told him my friend was coming back today, and I didn't know how he found out. He came eagerly to help. It was too sunny outside. I took my friend inside to enjoy the AC. When I came out, I saw David busy, sweat beading on his forehead. I handed him a towel. You worked hard. Wipe your sweat. The sweat on David's face dripped down his throat, over his chest and abs, finally disappearing into unseen places. He tapped his forehead with his finger and chuckled softly. My hand is a bit sore. Can you wipe it for me? A powerful surge of masculine energy washed over me. Blushing, I stood on tiptoe. Just as the towel was about to touch David's forehead, someone urgently called out, stopping me. Grace, don't. This familiar yet strange voice, was it Marcus? Marcus rushed forward excitedly. His chin was covered in stubble, and his once amber eyes were now dull. He looked like a homeless man who had just found new clothes. David blocked me, questioning him. Who are you? I'm her fiancé, the one she loves most. Marcus stared at me longingly. Grace, quickly tell him, I'm your fiancé. I shook my head and grabbed David's hand. A crazy man who mistook me for someone else. Let's go, Marcus screamed hysterically. Grace, you can't abandon me. Don't you know that for the months you were gone, I spent every day in a daze, clutching that corpse? If that body hadn't rotted and stunk, and the disguise on its face hadn't fallen off, I would still think you were dead. Tears streamed down his face. A look of rebirth after a disaster appeared on his face, and he continued. Luckily you're not dead. When I learned your friend bought a ticket to Dubai, I guessed you must have hidden there, and sure enough, you're here. But why are you pretending not to know me? Marcus's eyes were filled with confusion, and tears flowed like a flood. This was the first time I had seen him cry. Before, I would have felt very sorry for him, but now, my heart was completely unmoved. I even wondered if he was putting on another dramatic show of deep affection. I stared at him calmly, not saying a word. David whispered in my ear, it's hot outside. You go in first, I'll handle this. After he spoke, he turned and blocked Marcus. You've got the wrong person. Her name is Vivian, not Grace as you say. Marcus didn't believe him and screamed in despair. Grace, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I've broken off all ties with Chloe now. Please forgive me. David kept pushing him away, repeatedly explaining, she's Vivian. You really have the wrong person. No, she's Grace. She's my Grace. I covered my ears and ran into the house without looking back. My friend quickly stood up and asked me, what's wrong? Marcus is here. My friend's eyes widened in shock, and she said in a panic, then what do we do? A lunatic like him, who would even marry your corpse after you died, won't let you go now that he knows you're alive. I pondered for a moment, then pulled my friend's hand. Let's switch clothes. Tomorrow morning, you change back into your clothes. And if Marcus asks, just say you don't know. My friend nodded frantically. I changed into her clothes and quietly slipped out through the back door. Since had come to Dubai, I would go back to the States. At the airport, just as I was about to pass through the security, my suitcase unexpectedly got stuck and wouldn't move. I was in a hurry, and the passengers behind me looked impatient. Suddenly, a large well-defined hand reached out and lifted the suitcase. I looked up, exclaiming in surprise, David, how did you get here? An invitation for a medical exchange conference in the States. Thought I'd join you. He spoke candidly. So I didn't think too much, assuming it was another coincidence. The plane landed in the States. I had no plans this time, so I had to follow David. Unexpectedly, his exchange schedule included a visit to St. Jude's Mental Institute. I walked in with a group of academic experts. The director specifically sought out David. Young lady, I need David for a moment. Could I borrow him? I nodded, smiling politely, of course. Before left, he didn't forget to remind me, I'll be back soon. I laughed, covering my mouth, and nodded repeatedly. Okay, I'll be right here waiting. David looked back every few steps as the director forcefully pulled him away. I felt a bit stifled in the conference hall, so I went outside to the garden for some fresh air. Unexpectedly, I ran into Chloe. She held a small stick in her hand, smiling foolishly at me. Cousin, you're not dead? I smiled and stepped back. Yes, she asked with bewildered eyes. Then why are you here? My friend is here for an exchange conference, and I came along to visit. She smoothed her messy hair and looked at me seriously. Chloe, you're lying. I saw you walk in with a handsome foreigner. Chloe laughed maniacally as she spoke. Ahaha, cousin, doesn't it feel great to see me like this? I said nothing. I cautiously moved, inching closer and closer to the steps. After her laughter subsided, Chloe seemed lost in thought. As if reminiscing, cousin, why do you have a better life than me? You got into a great company right after graduation, had a good job, a rich and caring boyfriend. Why couldn't I have that? I replied coolly. What good did that do me? Didn't Marcus and Justin both love you? She let out a scoffing laugh. Love? You say they loved me? Ha 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 ha. That's ridiculous. I was a bit stunned. Chloe continued, her expression pained. Do you know what Marcus did to me after he found out you died? I shook my head. Her expression became frantic. He set up Justin with another woman, tied me in the closet, and forced me to watch my husband and another woman's explicit scene. He used his power to force Justin to divorce me. Everyone laughed at me, mocking me, saying, so what if you snatched him from her? You couldn't even keep him. Those words were like knives stabbing my heart. Do you understand? Seeing her gradually losing control, I gently tried to calm her. You need to calm down first. How can I calm down? Tell me. How can I calm down? Chloe shrieked maniacally. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have fallen to this point. How can you be so lucky? Even after death, Marcus still can't forget you. Bitch. I want you dead. After she finished speaking, she pulled a bottle of sulfuric acid from behind her back. I scrambled to escape. Chloe uncorked the bottle, laughing like a ghost. Cousin, don't run. I didn't stop running, hastily warning her. Chloe, what you're doing is illegal. You'll go to jail. Jail? I'm going to die with you. What jail are you talking about? She chased after me, laughing hysterically as I frantically ran forward. I accidentally stepped on a pebble and stumbled to the ground. Chloe approached me step by step. The moment the sulfuric acid was about to splash down, a shadow suddenly appeared before my eyes. I murmured, Marcus. He endured the pain and gently touched my face. Grace, I won't let you die again. Chloe realized she had splashed the wrong person, screamed, and dropped the bottle. I wanted to splash Grace, not you, not you. The commotion attracted medical staff, who rushed over. Marcus was urgently rushed to City Central Hospital for emergency treatment. Chloe was taken away by the police. David rushed over in a panic, looking me up and down. Vivian, are you okay? I shook my head blankly. Marcus shielding me from the sulfuric acid shocked me. Was he in love with me? I snapped back to reality, grabbing David and pleading with him. David, please help me find the best doctors for him, okay? A hint of bitterness flashed in David's eyes, and he agreed. Okay, Vivian, I'll arrange for him to be taken to the best hospital. I nodded blankly. Seeing that I wasn't in a good state, David quickly took me back to the hotel. The next day, David came to knock on the door. Vivian, Marcus is out of danger. Do you want to go see him at the hospital? I rubbed my tired eyes. Okay, let's go now. In the car, David couldn't help but ask me, Vivian, there's an old saying in the States. A life saved demands a pledge of oneself. Will you pledge yourself? I was a bit surprised David knew about that. I reached out my hand and intertwined my fingers with his. Do you understand this answer? Yes, I do. I do. He tightly held my hand in both of his, grinning foolishly without restraint. Vivian, I still prefer to tell you in plain language. I love you very much. I couldn't help but curve my lips into a smile. I softly hummed an affirmation. As I approached the ward, Marcus was awake, lying prone on the bed. His gaze swept over my hand intertwined with David's, and his smile instantly froze on his face. Grace, you came to see me. Holding his hand, I walked up to Marcus and bowed to him together. Thank you for saving me, David echoed. Thank you for saving the person I love. Marcus's eyes reddened. Grace, I was wrong before. I'm sorry, but please, give me another chance, okay? I shook my head and said coldly, Marcus, from the moment you gave my hard-earned achievements to Chloe, there was no possibility for us. And later, when my wrist was injured and I pleaded with you to save me, you decisively chose Chloe. That made it even more impossible between us. Marcus closed his eyes, tears streaming down his face. Grace, I realized too late. I'm sorry for hurting you for that bitch. The day Grace died when the stage collapsed, the day you chose Chloe, I became Vivian. I finished seriously. Then looked up at David, he understood, and led me out. Just as we neared the door, Marcus's heart-wrenching voice came from behind us. Grace, if I hadn't abandoned you and chosen Chloe that day, would you have been with me? I didn't turn back, and replied calmly, no, because I hate deceit. You've been lying to me from the very beginning. After returning to Dubai, David couldn't wait to propose to me. I grinned happily. Yes, he gently slid a diamond ring onto my finger. It was a plain band, with no diamond. It symbolized pure love. And that loving oneself is the true beginning of romance. Later, by chance, I overheard my friend's acquaintance from the States gossiping. Marcus's life was saved, but the injuries to his back were too severe, and he would be bedridden for the rest of his life. Chloe was deemed to be feigning mental illness, convicted of attempted murder, and sentenced to life imprisonment. Meanwhile, David and I were already expecting our second child. Our first was a son, and this time, he was eagerly hoping for a daughter. As soon as he got home from work, he cupped my belly and called out, "Daughter, daughter, can you hear Daddy's voice? Daddy's home from work to be with you." I laughed, my belly jiggling. What if it's a boy again? David didn't reply, stubbornly insisting it would be a daughter, and later, it really was a daughter. Fulfilling his wish for a daughter,